Welcome back to another episode of Global Card Collectors. Today it is just Will and I again. We have some news to share, and what else? Luka got traded, so we're going to talk about that and
That's right.
where we are in the hobby and kind of what we're collecting and just kind of see where the conversation goes. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing really well. I'm definitely interested in this first talking point. So do you want to just share again what you told me in your WhatsApp message earlier on this week?
There have been a lot of them. Which one?
Very true. The one about you getting one of your grails, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I will be happy to share. So, I've been I don't know how to introduce this, but Will thinks he knows what it is. So you,
I think I know what it is. So,
okay,
so John, what you did was you sent me a message. You're like, I've got one of my grail cards, and you said something about you got it for a pretty good price. I want to say online. Is that true?
yeah. The
From what I
lowest
remember.
price, the lowest price one of these has ever gone for.
Okay, so this is why I feel like I might know who it is. I feel like recently you've been going back down that wormhole of the Sacramento Kings, and you talked about like getting like 90s Kings cards, but there was one other player who's not a 90s player who I think it might be. He does not play for the he didn't his rookie season. He was not in the Sacramento Kings. He was in the I want to say the Kansas City Royals. Is it Oscar Robertson?
It's a fair guess, man. That's definitely one of the three grails I'm looking for this year.
Yeah, cool.
That card is plentiful. You can always find it, just whether you
Yeah.
want a good price, good copy, the 61 Robertson. So yeah, that's I'm looking. I've lost a couple auctions. So you're wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of guessed that when you went, that was a good guess. I'm like, I got it wrong. Damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You're wrong.
You have been actively looking and you've put in bids for that card, huh?
I have.
So not too far wrong then, I guess.
No. It's a good guess. I'll give you credit for that.
Mhm.
I was telling you, I'm like, I don't think you're gonna know what it is.
I might not know.
No. So I'd say this is the first guy like I had player fandom for. Um, Arguably the second, well, gosh, he's a top five player of the 2010s. I can say that. Um, and I like international players, and it's not Jokic, but it's the same card as Jokic. Here it is. The
Oh
2013
wow. Oh wow.
Giannis
Oh wow.
Antetokounmpo.
I would not have even come. I did not know that was Gurkha, but wow, that is a beauty. And that's the National Treasure sets, of course.
Yeah,
That's
same as
that's the
our
same year as Steve Adams, isn't it? He's the
2013.
same rookie class.
Same rookie class. It's out of 60. Um, Greek flag in the background. Obviously, he looks so young. I love his rookie cards because he's so young in them. He was like 18.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
and he's young at heart too. And I even like how like it has the Greek script. It says Hellas. I don't know if you can see it very well behind the auto.
Okay.
Uh,
Ah,
so
yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
yeah,
So
Hellas.
you got that on auction on eBay, right?
On eBay, and yeah, it's just awesome. I've always loved Giannis, and when I got back into the hobby, it was 2021,
Yeah.
and that was the year they won the title. So I missed out on like a good Giannis card, and they just kind of in price. But
Wow.
since then, they've like steadily declined. Like so, it's like it feels like a patience win. Like for being in the hobby for 4 years now, like I stuck it out, and like I always really wanted a great Giannis card, and this is it. This is the card I wanted. I'm
That's
so
the one,
happy.
dude. That's the one,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah,
My
congrats,
daughter,
man.
my daughter somehow has become a Giannis. Like I even have a Giannis t-shirt.
Oh
Um, I,
wow.
she somehow likes Giannis, so like I have a couple cards for her. I give her Giannis cards. Um, so like I don't know. It also makes me into Giannis more. So
Why would you not like Giannis, man? Why would you not? He's a great guy. He's an incredible basketball player. He's fun to watch play, man. And when like him against Wemby last week. I don't know if you watched the game. I
No.
ended up catching it. It was incredible. Like Wemby was blocking some of his shots. Giannis was dunking over him sometimes. Wemby's cracking threes. Giannis is doing these baseline spin moves. Just jump on your You should definitely jump on to your. You have an NBA. What's it called?
League Pass, yeah.
League Pass account as well too, right?
The best
I,
value of the year
I
every
would.
year. It's like $20 or $16 in Turkey or something for the
So
year,
cheap,
everything. Like
so
it's
cheap.
amazing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's that's preseason, regular season, playoffs. In
Everything.
fact, Turkey's cheap for all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
League Pass is ridiculously cheap. So yeah, I obviously have League Pass too, so I can watch games. Um, Netflix is ridiculously cheap. Disney
Yep.
Plus is all. So it's all those things around the world. When you compare prices, Turkey's right up there in terms of bargain basement prices for
We have
all of
to
these
point
services. It's great.
we have to celebrate our wins here, you know. There are a lot of reasons why
That's
it
true.
sucks to
That's
live
true.
here. So yeah.
Yeah, we don't get many cards, but we get
Yeah.
cheap streaming services.
Exactly. Exactly, man. So speaking of Turkey, we had a event that I think Will deserves a lot of leadership spearheading credit for initiating. Of
Thanks,
course,
man.
Barrick was our star, like our sultan, I was calling him. He's just the man making it all happen and
Yeah,
bringing out the people, and the right tone he brought. I think it
I
was an
think so. I
inspiration.
think so.
Emir, our young gun, keeping us healthy, keeping us moving, focused.
Yeah, and number one in sales for sure, man.
Definitely
His
number
his,
one in sales.
his table
Yeah,
was just packed.
yeah. And myself. So you take it from there.
So I think what I wanted to do as soon as we came back, I'd been talking to you about it even before I landed. I'm like, look, if I'm coming back, we're doing a show, man, and I think this is just hopefully the first of many to come. I think I liked what I wanted to do was to start small. So we found a small venue. I wanted it to be just a small trade day. I just put up maybe three different ads on Instagram, but nothing major, nothing like super expensive. Probably spend about 30 or 40 US dollars on ads, all up, that kind of thing. Just wanted to see if we can get the ball rolling. And so what do? I go to my trusted friends. I go to you, go to Beck. And even though I don't know him yet, I feel like I do know him because he's been on the show. I've edited that interview that you did with him, and so it was just so much fun to set up the show, to prepare everything. And I feel like the night before, like there were two ways it could have gone. I thought I was like, it could be awful because there might be no one there, or it could be awful because there'll be too many people there and we won't be able to manage the numbers. But I felt like the amount of people that were at the place was just right. It was great. I just had a really good day. It was exhausting, tiring, but really rewarding. How about yourself, bud?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't too crazy. Like, I didn't. I was exhausted by the end, and in fact, I left half hour early. Just I hadn't eaten, I think, was the problem. I should
Yeah,
pack food, I think, is a lesson learned maybe.
yeah,
And but yeah, it was low key, and it always, this is the second kind of public time I've sold cards or been seeing people buying cards publicly. And it just amazes me, like in person, how much easier it is to buy cards, right? So all I do is
definitely.
online. So that's cool. And the kids, it was a lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
And I think I learned some things about how to go about that. I did a cheap box. It was like I don't know, 10-cent box. And that was great, but I should do more of those, like different levels of boxes, and then you just get them looking through it, and you give them like 10 for $4 or something like that. And, it's like, anyway, I thought that was cool. And yeah, so the young energy was great. Yeah, those are my two takeaways, I guess.
Yeah, I think in terms of lessons learned, that's a lesson that I definitely learned. I've Even though I had organized it, even though I'd put in all of these other things about the show in general, about myself as a vendor, I was woefully underprepared. I mean, I think I told you I was like, man, I should have done this really much earlier, but I don't know, just things get in the way, and I wasn't as well prepared as I would have liked to have been.
Yeah, I
So I
mean,
think number one, it would be pricing a little bit earlier, but you don't want to price it too early because then prices can change.
not
But
on
I
most of the
think
stuff we have, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think on top of that, it was just I think I was a little bit fatigued with it, and I just wanted to get to the show and just see how it went. And I think next time I'll make sure that my cards are a little bit more organized so that people can see them. But the second thing is, as you said, I need to be more prepared for the kids. Just I've got a whole bunch of throwaway 90s, 2000s cards that I'm happy to even give away to kids. Just or give away at a or sell at a like a token price so that they feel
Yeah.
like they're buying and selling. It could be a lira, even I don't really care. But it'll be good for the kids to kind of because that's what I would want as a kid. I want to
Yeah.
buy a whole bunch of cheap cards of some of my favorite players and go from there. So that's what I'm going to be doing next time.
Yeah, that's it, man. And that's how we started as kids, as you said. Yeah. Uh, anything else from the show?
Um, I think I noticed as well, and I talked to you about this in a message earlier on in the week. Uh, During that week, I went and visited. In fact, the day before, maybe that's why I was tired. I went and visited a local Turkish TCG store just because I wanted to see a card store live, see what it was about. I made a little video, popped it up on the channel. But what I ended up doing was talking to a guy who has been in the Turkish card collecting, or let's say the TCG community for over 35 years. He started out as like a Magic the Gathering amateur, and then he ended up becoming a professional player, and he opened his own store. And some of the insights that he gave me on that day, it just really opened my eyes to what kind of market the Turkish market is. Because obviously the Turkish currency is struggling a lot now. There's definitely a specific type of, I'd say, person who would be a card collector in Turkey. It's not like, say, in New Zealand, where pretty much, your average to middle income people are still part of the hobby. It's almost elitist. It's almost the top 5% of Turkey, which means, like at the show, when the kids come up to you and they understand that you're a foreigner, they can comfortably speak in English. And that's a dead giveaway for a person who is in the top 5% because they're
Yeah.
able to get English tutoring and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So it really made me think about what I want to do as a seller here. So what would I do to sell those kinds of cards? I don't really think they'd want my bulk so much, those cheaper cards, but they were definitely after, as Berk and Amir advised me to do. They were after autos, they were after patches, they were after rookie cards, and they were after graded cards. Those were the cards that I bought basically to the show, and I moved a good amount. Were you able to make any sales of significance? Because I saw you did sell a box, right?
Yeah, we had a box. Amir and I each had a box from soccer cards. Those went like crazy. Like they were like, I don't know, swarming it. Like he'd get two. Okay, give me two more. Give me two more. It was like it was almost unsettling, to
Yeah.
watch because it was just like gambling. I mean, and at one point they're like, should I buy this card or this pack? I'm like, buy the card, not my card, someone elelse's card. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on.
hey, dude,
But what can you
learn.
say to a kid?
Yeah, stop gambling. But, but I didn't say anything. He can learn the lesson himself. Um, anyway, yeah. So that went. I did sell my Bogdanovich Fenerbahce cards finally.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
wow, that's good.
I wanted them in a good home, and strangely enough, a student I used to work with showed up at this show, and he recognized me. And then we started talking, of course. Like I used to, like 6 years ago, I helped him with his college applications, and yeah, so he bought that and a Kobe rookie for me. So those were like
Wow.
big sales for me. But otherwise, I didn't sell that much. But that was a cool connection.
Yeah, well, I think for cards that I was surprised that sold, but I have to give credit to Barrick and me for encouraging me to bring them. I sold a couple of patch cards. Now these are the old like upper deck patches where they're like game worn, not even player worn. They're like game worn, and there was like a Kevin Durant All Star game worn one and a Scottie Pippen game worn one that I had, and those two moved. And
Cool.
I also sold a Lamine Yamal rookie card on the day as well, which I'd been wanting to sell for a while. So I'm glad that those two moved. I didn't. I sold maybe I want to say one or two Alperen cards. I thought more would sell actually, but they weren't that interested in him. And
Yep.
they wanted really cheap prices for our regular cards, which I was like, what? That's cheaper than what I bought it for.
Yeah, I think they just printed, so many, I mean, of him this year. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I think that's an interesting thing about the Turkish market is that there is a certain type of audience that you have to kind of cater for. And I think moving forward, it'll definitely be reflected in what cards I bring to the show. But I'll make sure that obviously I'm going to bring a whole bunch of bulk stuff that I can virtually give away to kids, which will be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just fun knowing it's going somewhere where they want it for that instant,
Yep.
at
Yep.
least.
Did you have
So,
any big pickups on the day, by the way?
no, I'm really just trying to get rid of cards. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I had one buy and one trade. So
well, we traded.
from
Yeah.
yes, yes. So the one buy that I made was from Emir actually. And it was interesting because I was talking about this card with Kieran in our last Global Card Collectors episode, and I ended up picking it up. It's really tough to see in this light, but I don't know if you can see that there's some stairs down here, and there's a Pokemon character called Psyduck, and it's super popular, and the artwork is really good for a Pokemon card. I'm obviously becoming a Pokemon card expert, but but I picked this one up for I think he sold it to me for like $20, which I think is market value, but you can't find market value here in Turkey, so I'll 100% take it. And
Yep.
I have a feeling that this one is going to skyrocket in price just because when you think about artworks and what cards are undervalued, this one for mine feels like it might be. So that was my
Interesting.
Pokemon.
Look at you
Yeah, that was my Pokemon pickup.
flipping the market. Look at you.
Yeah, giving it a crack, mate.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
the second one is this girl here, and I've talked to you a lot about her actually,
Where'd you get
and
that one?
I got it from you. So you also you gifted me the raw card, and now I have it numbered to 150. And this came from that box of USA Olympic cards that you opened up. Is that right?
Yep.
So this is a top set, tops
Tw-
chrome.
24 Topps Chrome. Yeah. US
Yeah.
Olympic.
And so Ilona Mar, if people are listening, she's a female rugby player from the US who played in the US Sevens team at the Olympics, and she's blowing up all over social media. So much so that her online following is considerably larger than the All Blacks. So, as a rugby Instagram page, hers is the largest. She has more followers than the All Blacks, the greatest rugby team in the world. South Africans will disagree, but the All Blacks are the greatest. But this girl here is just, she's a big deal. And her one of one card from the set sold for a couple of grand. I want to say at least $2,000. So she's up there in terms of like rugby card sales. So
This
you
is
know
a
what? If we end up
female
going to,
female rugby
yeah, yeah,
player. Yeah.
she's a female rugby player, and I have an auto of a New Zealand female rugby player who's basically her New Zealand equivalent, but her fan base is not even close to this girl's one. So if we somehow end up going to London and watching her play in the UK, I'll be going to the game and getting her to sign it, and it'll quadruple in value. And it's a great card anyway. Like it's number to
Amazing.
150. It's got that really nice blue shine in the back. A classic Topps Chrome card that actually doesn't look terrible like the other ones. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, America might not be that popular around this region at the moment. Just, the whole Gaza thing just came out here. Um, but I will say this, man, America knows how to market. Like that's what we do better than anyone else in the world. And so this girl, it means
Better
one
marketed
per
than the All
one
Blacks.
more than the All Blacks. That's insane. I mean, that's interesting. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
So
So
what card did you get in return for this one, by the way, John?
I got a Allen Iverson medal. What do you call that?
Yeah, it's a Skybox Metal one, right? And it's him in
Skybox
front
medal.
of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Philadelphia skyline. It's great. I really like that card.
yeah.
So congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have an AI, so I needed one. So that was a great trade for me. Both of us seems.
I think so.
Yeah. And what else? You got anything else on the show you were gonna say, or is that it?
No, that was it
Okay.
basically. Like I did move a couple of boxes of Pokemon cards. I think that's definitely a thing. And from our last Pokemon episode, like talking to Kieran, the market is just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And soon it's going to burst, you know. But I think we'll
Right.
be able to sell out before that happens. But right now, it's just red hot, man. And it's interesting to see how well the Pokemon card market is going and just how average the sports card market is. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
I mean, the sports card market is, I feel like, kind of strong right now. I mean,
I
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like flat. That's my sense is like it's going up a bit overall.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't really get that feel, but I've been a little bit more focused on the Pokemon market because it's the flavor of the month, and the sports card market right now. I'm just like I don't want any modern except for one guy who I have a couple of cards of that can't show you now because I have to go and look for them, and it'll take me half an hour. But I've weirdly become a fan of Armin Thompson, and I've talked to you about him. I've watched a lot of games with him playing. He's a lot of fun to watch play, but I would have never watched him so early. And I think I got on before the big hype train, and because now everybody's talking about him, right? And I got on him maybe a couple of months earlier because I picked him up in my fantasy team. And I think that segues very nicely into what we want to talk about next. And I think that's the relationship that you have with fantasy players and ending up buying their cards. And right now, I think there were a few Armin Thompson cards, and they're nice looking ones that I have. And I'm like, do I want to take them to the show? I'm like, no, those are the only ones I got right now. Let's wait until I can get an auto of this kid and see how they do. But the Thompson autos weren't that badly priced before. They were high because he was the number 4 draft pick, but they weren't that badly priced. Now I think I'm almost he's almost out of my price range for his rookie auto.
Yeah.
But he's playing wonderfully well, and it's fun to have a guy on your fantasy team and to have his cards too. I've been doing that ever since I drafted Alperen when he was a rookie. I was like, I like this guy. I'm going to get him, and he worked out really well for me in fantasy. Any thoughts on fantasy and how they relate to cards?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do think there is that clear connection between, as you're saying, if having someone on your fantasy team is like buying his card. It's like it's the same rooting kind of interest in
Yeah.
their performance and such. So th there is a clear relationship in that regard. It's a natural thing to cross over from. I mean, I think it's very easy for card people to cross over to fantasy sports. It's whether the fantasy sports people could come over to cards. But yeah, I don't know if I mean, Jokic is the classic for me. That's how
Yeah.
I figured out he was good, was from playing fantasy. This year,
It's Trey Murphy,
Dyson
man. It's
Daniels.
Trey
I did
Dyson
Dyson Daniels
Daniels
this
too.
summer. I drafted
Yeah.
him and bought a card, and so I flipped it and reaped the benefits on my fantasy team. So yeah, it's fun. I mean,
Yeah, I had the other end of the Dyson Daniels spoon. Unfortunately, he was on the guy I was playing that week's team, and he was just scoring like 60 fantasy points a week. And I'm like, Dyson Daniels is that good? And then I might as well check out an Atlanta Hawks game. And watching him and Jalen Johnson play, it's a lot of fun. It's a fun version of basketball. It's not as sameish as all of the other teams that play. They play aggressive defense, which is fun. So yeah, Dyson Daniels, totally agree. And I think you have Trey Murphy as well. And
on my fantasy team, yeah.
I watched Trey Murphy on my fantasy team, on my friend's fantasy team this past week, and it's just like he's scoring 60 fantasy points every game. And it's like 30 points a game with a couple of steals and a couple of blocks, a few assists. He's just doing everything and
Yeah.
looking excellent. Like he's the guy at New Orleans now, right now.
Yeah, probably my best pick in the team in the league. I do a paid league and yeah, I'm in first there. He's probably the best value I have on my team was him. Um, Incredible.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I shared my fantasy team with you this week. Did you see who I just picked up on injury waiver and just chucked them straight into my injury cover?
Butler, right?
Now I picked Brandon Ingram on top.
I did. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I've ended up snagging a couple of guys on these fantasy teams. So Brandon Ingram's one, and then another guy in my team who's been injured for the last month and a half. That I'm really excited about him coming back because I feel like he's going to be on revenge mode. Is our favorite is Luka. What are your thoughts on the Luka trade? Anything to say about that? And especially since we know some Mavs fans who are not happy at all with what went down.
Yeah, I mean, I just strongly urge people to listen to the February 3rd episode of the crossover.
Yeah.
Chris Hoge gives a theory. He says himself, people might think it's kind of out there, and I'm not even sure if I believe it. But he walks through his theory of that. So I don't want to. I just say listen to it. It starts around the 15-minute mark. February 3rd. It's called Luka is Frazier's Sofa. So I don't see how. I just don't understand how he gets to LA in this fashion with no other trade talks. I mean, LA has done this so many times. I mean, we've seen
I
with
mean,
Pau Gasol, Chris Paul,
even AD.
AD. I mean, it's always, I don't want to swear, but it's just like nonsense going on, and it's a media story that covers up, basically they want to get these guys in LA. Hoj is more of the opinion that Luka actually wanted out too. Like he wanted out. And so I don't see how he doesn't want out. Like, I mean, and this happens without him not knowing or something. I just don't see that. So
Yeah, he's acting like it took him by surprise, though. So a couple of interviews with him going, "Yeah, but of course you play the role. That's what are you
yeah,
going
it's
to be allowed to do?"
like, did
The
LeBron
Lakers are
not know?
fine being the villain because nobody besides LA fans like the Lakers.
Like LeBron, you're telling me LeBron didn't know? That's what the media is reporting? Like, you got to be kidding me.
For sure.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because LeBron doesn't know about any trades, right?
No, no. Yeah, I just never heard about him. Yeah. I mean, so
Yeah, so I guess what I wanted to ask was like
yeah.
when you connect it to cards and we think about our friend, let's just name him because he's been on the show, Keith,
Yeah.
who we know as a Dallas Mavericks fan. You were telling me some things about him earlier on and what he's considering now that that trade's gone down. Do you want to kind of walk us through it and just kind of maybe just think about what that could mean for some kinds of collectors?
Yeah, I think it's devastating for him. And I mean, I think people are well aware, you see some videos or I mean, Mavs fans I think are devastated by it. Even if Harris thinks that this will bring him a title, it doesn't kind of make up for people loving the player, like, and like, that attachment. So titles aren't even going to cut it, I think, kind of is how Mavs fans feel from what I understand. And yeah, he's devastated by it, just like shocked and kind of just like, what's the point of fandom if like when this something like this happens? He got into the card thing like me and you, I guess, and just kind of got back into it and enjoyed it. But he had slowed down a lot. He wasn't like buying a lot of cards, but every now and then he'd be like find a new Luka card from like a new set that looked cool that I would have never thought to look for. So he was looking for Luka cards, and so he's just like, yeah, like this. I just kind of want to sell it all, like, and be done with it. It's devastating for those fans.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember him on the last episode that he was with us, and he was like, "Look, I've got this card. It's in Mavs blue, and that kind of thing." He was going with that, and I was like, "Why would I be a Mavs fan? It really sucks.
Yeah, it's
It
his
really
it's his
sucks."
team. It's his favorite team.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that you can definitely empathize with that, being a Kings fan. Just I guess just wanting better players, maybe I don't know. Over
Oh,
the
what
years,
we
and
we
just having
suck.
to
Yeah, we suck. I mean, as I said to you over some beers, like we're here for your condescension. Whenever the rest of the league wants to feel superior, just talk about the Kings, the Kangs, whatever you want. Um, we're very sensitive too. And But yeah, obviously, like, yeah, but I say in seriousness, the 2002 Western Conference Finals like really kind of killed it for me. Like, I just couldn't believe in like the league anymore, and kind of what's the point when I mean we we got so screwed in that game 6, and they wanted a game 7 of television rights, and the refereeing was terrible. And when that happens to you, you're gutted. And I'm always going to be a Kings fan, like. But I've started to become more of a player collector after about 10 years because or player fan, because that's the only way I could kind of protect myself or something and actually
yeah.
enjoy
Well,
it.
it's
Yeah.
taken you that long to come back around to that Kings team, right? It's taking you that long to go. You know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to start collecting cards of that team because whatever happened, it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
Let's get some of their cards, and you've got some really
Well,
cool ones now.
and cards actually brought me back to that team, you know? I mean,
Yeah, wow.
I would say. Yeah, I do, exactly. So where I mean, I find this player fandom very interesting. It's new, as I said, it's new. I started with Giannis and then Luka and Jokic kind of around the same time, later in the 2010s. And I don't know, have you always been a player fan or like how does it work for you?
I think so. I think my player fandom started with Jordan. So I have
Yeah.
just voluminous amounts of Jordan cards, and I've started to even get rid of those because I want to consolidate. I want less, but I want some cards that will really just pop and the ones that I'll be like, wow, I really, really like this one. Whereas I've got some nice ones now. I've got, like, for example, if I were to get rid of my entire Jordan collection, I could pick my top three and keep those, and I'd be happy with letting the rest go. But I've probably got about maybe 300 Jordan cards.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, and that's very normal because 90s they were printing all sorts of different sets of them. But yeah, that's 300 different ones. Like I don't have many doubles at all, if any. They're all single different ones. But it started out with Jordan, but at the same time I was still trying to collect sets. So I was a little trying to dip my foot in both pools, but it didn't quite work. So when I came back to card collecting, it was pretty clear pretty quickly that I was just like, don't really want full sets because there are a number of players that I just don't really care for, and I don't really have any attachment to the card. And the idea of completing things, I think I'd outgrown, but I needed to kind of learn that lesson. And it was an expensive one because, as you remember, when we first met up, I was just buying bulk and I just had all sorts of different cards. And you even said to me, you were just like, I don't really know what your direction is as a collector. And you meant it really well. You're just like, you're just all over the place, mate. And I'm just like, should I be collecting more specifically? Should I be collecting more purposefully? And so that comment stuck with me the entire time, for a long, long time, even till now. And I'm just like, yes, I should. Why would I want? And, I'm looking through binders and pages and pages of this stuff going, why do I want this guy or that guy? Why can't I just focus on the cards that I want and go that way? And it's gotten to a point where right now I must have about 40 to 50,000 cards here in Turkey, which sounded impressive to me in the past. And now it's just like, wow, that's more of a burden than it is something to be proud of, because you can't leaf through boxes and boxes and boxes of cards. You could do that for an afternoon, and it's kind of fun to look for the treasured card. But why not just have the treasured card in a Zion box and do that? And so that's basically, I think, where I would like to end up one day, having like one Zion box with, maybe 5 or 6 players that I really like, and having 3 or 4 of certain cards. For example, the Steve Adams card that we have. That's the only Steve Adams card I need. I don't need all the other rookies. I've got another order of his there. I don't need that. I just need that card with him in front of the flag, with a rookie card, with a rookie patch on it, with a number on it, and an on-card order. And it's a beautiful looking card too. So I think that's where I ultimately want to get as a collector. How I get
Yeah.
there is going to be tough over here because people don't want to buy bulk, but maybe I should just sell all that bulk to back.
I mean, Barrick is perfect. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, in time. I don't want to rip him off either. I just want to kind of get through a couple of shows and sell off some more of the expensive cards and then go from there.
Sounds good, man. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's no rush, unless it's giving you stress or something. But
No, 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 not at
yeah,
all.
it's fun. It's fun to it's really yeah, it's just really liberating to sell as much as I have been in the last year, I'd say.
I agree. I agree. I felt exactly that way at the show. I was like, man, I really loved this card when I had it, but it's
Yep.
time to move on. Like the Scottie Pippen having a game worn patch for me for a long, long time. I was like, I'm never going to let this thing go. And then give it another year. I'm like, no, I could part with it. It was nothing because he said about things about Jordan not being the best and all that kind of stuff. Nothing to do with that.
Of course not. Of course not.
But yeah, I was pretty fine to let that go. I let
Yeah.
go of a Kevin Durant patch. That's fine. I still have a nice couple of KD rookie cards, and you saw that ultra rare Kevin Durant card that I sent into SGC with that order a couple of years ago now. So I still have a few good KD cards, but again, I'm happy to pair that back and get one really nice Durant card to go there. That'd be more what I'd be looking to do.
Right on. I don't know, man. I think I've said all the thoughts I had on my mind.
Yeah,
Anything
me
else you
too, I think.
want to ask me or something?
Um, yeah, I guess you talked about team collecting and how you've kind of gone back to that Kings team. It's
Hmm.
interesting because, as you know, I'm a Celtics fan, but I don't really have any desire to kind of collect Celtics players, weirdly enough. They're just not really on my radar, but it seems very normal, right? Like, I mean, I know that you started collecting Kid Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, but you've moved off him recently.
Hmm.
Uh, I still don't really want or really feel like I have a desire or a need to get any Celtics card. But for example, I think a patch auto of Al Horford or maybe Derek White would be kind of fun to have. So maybe I will look up those cards in the near future or down the line. We'll see how it goes. I feel like Horford's card market's pretty easy to get into, but I just need to find the one that looks good. I think it's got to be on card. If it's going to be Al Horford, you can find a good on card order and with a
Yeah,
game one patch
you
and a
can.
nice card because he's just been an awesome leader for that Celtics team and made some big plays and some big moments for that team. So yeah, it'd be nice to have an Al Horford one, I think, and Derek White too. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a really smart, savvy basketball player, and I like watching him play, and he's doing great things for my fantasy team.
There's the fantasy angle again.
Oh man, I mean, there was the player love before the young. I'm like, why aren't you guys picking up Derek White? I'm getting Derek White. I want him on my team, and he's been great for me all year.
Yeah, I mean, and those guys you can get really cool stuff. I mean, that's one of the good things about being a Kings collector or that team Kings collector. I mean, I do have other team, from other teams, Kings years cards, whatever, like Bobby Hurley or Spud Webb and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But uh, I focused on this team, the 2002 team, basically. And you can get really cool stuff. It's maybe, Weber's expensive, but I just don't get Weber's.
yeah.
But I think that's where it's really fun with team collecting. I mean, I listen to tons of podcasts and, guys, they really enjoy it and I see why. I mean, it's just like you can get really cool cards if you team collect, just not superstars, right?
Hmm.
Um, whereas the player collecting is, usually it's a superstar, and um, I don't know if there are many team collectors or fan collectors of like not good players. I don't know.
Yeah, there are a few around. Like you see some people like I'm a Damon Stoudemire collector or those kinds of things.
I mean,
David Robinson, like he's a superstar, I guess. But
Christina from the crossover, Maxi
yeah,
Kleber.
Maxi Kleber.
Now why was he in the trade to LA? Hmm.
I blame
Uh,
Hodge then there now. How's my new
that,
conspiracy theory?
I'm borrowing that from Hodge. And Christina actually, she mentioned that. Yeah, I mean, but it's kind of rare. So then when you go player collect, it's more expensive, all that, but it's also, more comforting because if they change their team. I mean, it's weird watching Luka, at that press conference. The press conference was fine. I thought he was nice and good in
It's
that, but
the,
then
it's the colors, man.
seeing him on the bench sitting next to Bronny James was just like, oh my God. And I hate the Lakers. Like, from my Kings fan, dumb. And so it's gonna take some time to get used to it, but I
Him
will.
and him and
Yeah.
him and Lakers gold, man. That's gonna be weird. All right. I
Yeah.
saw some of the the publicity, the press photos of him, and it's just like, man, that looks so strange.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this will have happened a week ago when this episode is launched, but yeah, it's still
Well, he's
fresh.
going to be playing later in the week, and I can't wait until later this month. I think it's like the 26th. They're going to be playing the Mavs at LA, so that's going to be amazing. And
Awesome.
they're going to play the Mavs in Dallas in April. So
Okay.
Also going to be fun. Those are going to
Yeah.
be some fun games to look out for.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, I think we can wrap up here, huh?
All right. Good talking to you,
Perfect.
man. Good catch
Yeah, you
up.
too, but
Yeah.
yep, catch up soon.